So kicking things off just like that, and at number 10, we have the Dead Alert app. I mean, what is this? If you're a morbid person, then this app is for you. The Dead app will notify you of nearby areas where a murder or a car accident took place. Why? I have absolutely no idea why. Well, think of it like the news feed that updates every time someone passes away. It can send you notifications and you can instantly share the eulogies on your social media or through text messages. That's if you're into that sort of thing. You can stay up to date with news breaking death alerts, but I'm not sure why you would want to be reminded about death every minute or fortunately maybe every second of the day. Oh, and if you have your phone not on silent or vibrate mode, it will alert you with a blood-curdling scream when someone passes away. So if I were you, I wouldn't think about downloading this app. I feel like it would cause some serious depression or cause you to think about death, way too much. There's enough going on in the world right now. I mean, I don't have my iPhone here. I'm pretty upset right now. I don't need to be hearing about this. Number 9, sleep recording apps. I'm just a big no to this one. These apps have a tendency to record scary, paranormal, and creepy things while you sleep. So why would I do that? Ironically enough though, instead of monitoring your sleep, they actually cause a lot of sleepless nights because they are known to record strange things while you sleep. From creepy voices to even capturing some pretty bizarre things on camera, these apps altogether are bad news. I don't think anyone wants to know what kind of ghosts are lurking in their bedroom while they sleep. I mean, if they're there, I don't want to know about it. This is real life paranormal activity stuff and I don't want to be a part of this. If you really want to monitor your sleep, then get one of those trackers that you wear on your wrist because you definitely don't need a video or sound recording of you sleeping. Trust me, some pretty weird things happen while you are dreaming. The Ouija board app comes in at number 8. This one speaks for itself, but we've all heard about the real life Ouija board. It's used to contact spirits from the dead and you can communicate with them through the board using the planchette. Well, someone decided to make this creepy paranormal game more easily accessible by creating a Ouija board app. Now you can easily summon spirits wherever you go and it's a whole lot easier. But beware, nothing good ever comes from summoning spirits on a Ouija board. So I'm assuming that this app is no exception to that. Ouija boards are notoriously known to cause demons or other negative spirits to haunt or possess things in your house. So I'm not sure why people feel the need to, download this app. I would say go do something else with your free time because trust me, summoning a demon will never end up as like a good idea. Like no one's gonna be like, yo, that was a good idea. Watching cute girls app brings us to number 7. I kid you guys not. Why do a bunch of these apps sound like they were created in the basement of a serial killer's house? Well, this strange app is actually pretty weird and creepy. It was released in 2012 and basically once you open the app, you'll see a girl staring at you. She can move, she could speak and look around, but she's just mostly enjoying just staring at you. This app was intended to help people who feel lonely by providing them with a friend. But honestly, I think this is just super weird. I don't know if it actually works. The app suggests that you take her out to dinner. I don't know what you would do, put the phone across from you and you can gaze into her eyes. You can maybe feed her some food. I'm not sure how that's gonna work. I don't know the logistics of everything, but if you're into this, you can download this creepy stranger app. And as soon as you download it, she's ready to start staring at you. Death Clock is at number 6. This app is officially called When Will I Die? And in the App Store, it's described as a death calculator. Apparently, it can tell you the exact date of when you're going to die based on how you answer, certain questions about your lifestyle and habits. It's rated 4.3 out of 5 on the App Store, which is actually quite high if you think about it. It's kind of weird to rate an app that tries to determine when you are going to die. What if the date is tomorrow? Or what if it was yesterday and you're overdue? Obviously, this app is for entertainment purposes only, and it's not based on any scientific data. But what if people live their lives in fear or make dumb decisions because this app told them that they were going to die soon? If I were you, I would stay far away from this app. You're going to die when, you're supposed to. not because an app told you. Next up on our list we have spyware apps, and this comes in at number 5. Have you recently bought a secondhand phone? Well, if so, I would be extremely worried if I were you. You might want to check if there is a creepy spyware app secretly installed in your phone. There have been cases where people believe that their phones were recording them without their consent. President Donald Trump. Those unlucky people found out that the previous owner installed an app where they could watch them whenever they wanted to. So it really makes you wonder what other apps they did where you gave them permission to access your camera. Maybe you're being watched right now. But you know what? I have your guys' back. Whip out your phones, do a factory resets tonight, make sure everything is backed up, and get rid of all the apps that you didn't download or it's in question. Girls Around Me is in at number 4. Yeah, this app is creepy as it sounds. It allows users to view the location of women on a map and all of their information that they post on social media accounts like Facebook and Instagram. Oh, and also did I forget to mention that it's without the women's consent. People were able to locate unsuspecting women nearby because they can see them on the map, and the app provides them with their name, picture, and a whole bunch of other personal information. This sounds like the perfect tool if you were a stalker. Or maybe a serial killer, but let's move on. Moving up this list, and at number 3, we have the Camster app. This app allows its users to view in real time cameras from all over the world. But the creepiness doesn't stop there. You can even add your own cameras to the app server so others can watch your home or business across the globe. Why the heck would anyone in their right minds would want to do this? You can view other people's nanny cams, spy cams, webcams, traffic and weather cams. Okay, I understand tuning into traffic and weather cams, but spy cams or nanny cams? Like not your own nanny cam or your own spy cams, like someone else's in a different country. I might as well leave my doors unlocked and put a huge sign on my front lawn inviting strangers in, but I guess the saying is right. Someone is always watching you. Talking Angela creeps us in at number 2. This is considered to be a chatterbox app where kids can talk and interact with a cartoon cat. The Talking Angela app was released in December of 2012, but ever since then rumors have been circulating around that this app is really unsafe for kids. Apparently it's being used as a recruiting tool for pedophiles, or it's driven by creepy hackers who are talking to kids. Talking Angela will ask them for their names, what school they go to, and the app will take pictures of the kids without them noticing. As it turns out, this might have been a publicity stunt or a massive hoax, but would you really want to take that risk and download this app just because someone said it's safe? I know I wouldn't. And do you guys remember that aging app that everyone was using, and then we found out, I think it was like Russia was behind it, and they were gathering a lot of your information? Absolutely insane. Topping our list, at number 1, we have Situationist. This is the creepy app that lets strangers do weird things with you. Let me explain. Situationist is an app that allows you to choose a task for a stranger that they must do when they meet you. This app is really concerning to me, to say the least. Why would you want to meet with a random stranger, and why would you want them to do, a weird task? I swear this is how people get kidnapped and disappeared. It's like, I want to meet you while your hands are tied and there's a bag over your head. Complete that task and then come meet me. And if the person comes and meets you, like they're so excited about it. Anyways, the stranger who also has this bizarre app installed will receive the task, and with the help of an extremely creepy and stalkerish built-in radar, well, they will try their best to track you down. Okay, no, seriously, did a serial killer develop this app? This seems like a really unsafe way to meet people, and I really hope you guys take my advice and don't download this dangerous app. In fact, don't download any of these apps that I've just mentioned.
Coming in at number 10, we have your web activity. Now this shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, we Google things every day. Of course, Google is keeping track of what people are looking for through their search engines so they can better run their company and give you the information you need faster. Well, that and give your information to the NSA and other major corporations so they can sell things to you and spy on you better. But they're also working on their digital infrastructure. But what you probably don't think about is that they aren't just looking at your Google search history. They are looking at every website you visit visit. Now, how are they doing this? Well, you probably are using a Chrome browser unless you have a Mac laptop for some insane reason. The only reason I can justify this is that you have more money than you need and you decided to buy a Mac instead of lighting that money on fire. Now, if you're browsing the internet through your Chrome browser and you're signed into your Google account, well, every website you go to is going to be tracked. Now, they say that they don't look at exactly what you do on these websites, but I wouldn't put it past them. And the same thing goes on your Android. If you're downloading apps off the Google Store and using them, which 100% of Android users are, then Google is taking a log of all that information. Again, they say they don't look at exactly what you do on these apps, but there were rumors recently that they were looking at what you do even when you're in the incognito browser, which is supposed to be a sacred place. How dare you? And guys, make sure you hit that like button because it really helps us out. Coming in at number 9, we have all of your personal data. When you set up a Google account, you really give them everything unless you're using a fake identity because you don't want the alphabet company knowing everything about you. And trust me, if you're worried about that, you're either not important enough to be worried about that, or you're so important that Google already knows everything it wants to know about you. But for a huge part of the world, we use Google services for business purposes, so you can't sign into your account under the username MacDiesel III. Now, when you put in all that information, Google definitely doesn't forget about it. Your name, your birthday, address, phone number, age, all of that information is stored in their database, and then they use it to market to you better. Basically, Google just needs to know your social insurance number and then have a picture of your birth certificate, and they would be able to become you digitally. And I'm sure that many of the people watching this video have that information tucked away in their Gmail account anyways. Coming in at number 8, we have images. Google will keep track of all the pictures that you look at. Like when you Google search some image for whatever reason, they will keep a document of that. They will keep a log of the images you save and for how long you look at certain images. Basically, if you want to hide from Google, you need to get all new hardware, never log into any of your social media, and never get into your Google account and get one of those VPN things so you can hide your location. At number 7, we have Google Fit. So Google has made a lot of things, and some of them do really well, like Gmail and their search engine. And the other things don't really live up to the expectations, like Google Stadia, Google Glass, Google Plus, the list goes on and on. You can afford to have hundreds of failed products when you have more money than God. But one thing that people use to keep track of their fitness is Google Fit. Now, if you're using Google Fit to keep track of how your body is doing, then you better believe that Google has all that information too. This will allow Google to keep track of your resting heart rate, if you're gaining weight, your height, and if you're healthy for your age. Depending on how much info you put into the service, they will know your eating habits, how often you actually stick to your diet. They might even know your blood pressure and possible health risks. With the endless flow of data that they have streaming into their hive mind at any time, they probably know more about your overall health than your doctor. Coming number 6, we have your Gmail account. Gmail is now the most popular email service. I mean, it makes sense. It works with all the other Google services you have, so everything has a nice harmony and it makes your life 10 times more convenient. Well, all of your information in your Gmail is being stored. Like every last bit of information is being stored in the Google database. Not just the emails you send, not just the emails you get in, but everything. All of your junk mail gets saved, all of your drafts get saved, all of your deleted messages get saved. Even when you type out a message and you don't send it, that gets logged. I was certain that email was a holy place where I could keep everything from emails from my grandma to junk mail that I get from the 47 streaming services that I signed up for every single month so I could cancel them and never have to pay. Yeah, Google knows the real you like no one else does. There used to be a time when you could hide your true intentions from the world, but now there is a log of everything. Coming in at number 5, we have your YouTube viewing history. I think most of you know this, but for those of you who don't, YouTube is the most watched streaming service on the planet. It has nearly quadrupled the yearly users that Netflix has, and I mean, it makes sense. It's a free service, so the barrier to entry is super low. Kids can get on and watch a bunch of kid-friendly content, and nearly every major media company is uploading 4K quality content to the platform. It is no longer longer a small startup for artists to be creative. It is a global powerhouse that dictates most of what the world is watching. And I say this, of course, because Google owns YouTube, just in case you didn't know. Now, this means that all the time you spend watching YouTube, that data is collected and then used to give you more of what you like. I mean, I know it sounds like a terrible thing, but I kinda like having ads that are personalized to me because now I get things that I actually want and need. But how much information is being sacrificed so I can get an ad for a new frying pan that would look great in my new place? Coming in at number 4, we have your audio history. I know I use voice notes a ton. Whenever I'm too lazy to write something down, it seems like the best option. I like to do it just to watch the words glide across the screen and see if my phone knows how to spell out the words Guzzlord. Well, if you don't know this, I'm about to tell you something very frightening. All of your voice notes and audio files that you put through Google are saved. Every last bit. You can actually look up and listen to all the audio files that Google has on you. So I hope you like the sound of your own voice. With them having so many of my pictures and so much of my voice, they could create a deep fake that is so real and no one would care about. Coming in at number 3, we have Google Pay. I mean, I am part of the problem when it comes to these services. I don't use Google Pay, but I use Apple Pay all the time. It has saved me some awfully embarrassing situations when I'm at the front of a line and I'm about to pay and then I realize that I forgot my wallet. But you need to know that all that information that you're using through Google Pay is getting stored. So that's where you shop, how much you like to spend on coffee, how much you have in your checking account, how many times you go to use your card and it gets declined, how often you shop online, and how much your rent is. This means Google will know more about your social economic situation better than you, my friend. You better tell the truth on your taxes because unless you're buying everything in cash, credit, or debit, then they will be on to you. Also, remember when Facebook tried to start their own currency and the government was like, hell no, you're going too far now. Alright, coming in at number 2, we have your search history. Now, we have covered this a little bit when we talked about how Google is looking at your web activity, but search history through the Google search engine is a little more specific. Through this, you might be looking up something that has to do with your sexual orientation, and Google will be able to find out if you're gay, straight, or anything in between. You might be looking up things to do with the upcoming election, and Google will be able to find out if you're right-leaning or left-leaning. This also has to do with your shopping habits. Google ads are obviously a big part of the online service, so your shopping searches will pair perfectly with everything Google is trying to sell you. Not to mention the conversations you have around your phone. We have all had that moment where we did not search anything, and then all of a sudden we start getting ads for something we were just talking about. Yeah, we know it happens now and we know you're listening. And coming at the number 1 spot, we have your location history. This is a no-brainer. We know that if we have Google Maps open, it will be tracking where you're going. I mean, I put the information into Google, so I'm willingly giving them the address that I am going to. Well, did you know that Google Maps is tracking you even when the app isn't open? Okay, so you might be hearing this and think, I don't want this to happen anymore, it's creeping me out, and I find it hard to sleep at night knowing that Google's watching me closer than God or Santa Claus. Well, you'll just delete your Google Maps app, right? Well, you better delete all of your other map apps because things like Waze also use Google Maps. So I hope you like printing out directions like you're 78 years old and you don't know how to use any of the apps on your phone. Well, let me tell you that if you own an Android, deleting all of your map apps isn't enough to stop letting Google know where you have been. If you have the Google Play Store app on your phone, which is the only way you can get other apps, then that will be constantly sending your location information to Google. Yeah, this is starting to get a little spooky.
Coming in at the number 10 spot now, we have mSpy. Now this is the closest thing to a real life spy app that I've ever seen. Users who install it are promised that their phones can now remotely spy on text messages, call logs and emails, track their location, record their surroundings and even look at their calendar information to see what their plans are. It can see you, hear you and knows exactly where you are at any time. It was designed for parents or bosses to keep an eye on their kids or employees, but to be honest, if someone installed this on your phone without you knowing, they could do exactly the same thing. Creepy stuff. Next up at number 9 now, we have Tinder. Now Tinder has blown up recently as the biggest online dating app in the world for people looking for love, a hookup, or just about anything in between. In April 2016, it was reported that for just a one-off payment of $5, you could use the website Swipebuster, put in some details about someone you know, and all of their info will come up on Tinder, including their age, general location, when they were last using the app, or even if they were searching for men or women. Swipebuster was actually set up to show people how apps like Tinder that do keep tabs on your location and many other details, and that if you know how to, anyone can get that info too. Moving on to number 8 now, we have Instagram. In 2012, Instagram came under fire for taking information on people's phones and storing it on their own servers. Specifically, they were taking phone book numbers from people's contacts without them even knowing. They were doing this to try and expand their network as quickly as possible. If they could see who wasn't using Instagram on that contact list, they knew who to target next. Many people out there were outraged that Instagram was watching and remembering their personal contacts, and Apple even made a statement saying they would tighten security on their products to stop this ever happening. Next up at number 7 now, we have FlexiSpy. This app claims to be the world's most powerful monitoring software for protecting your children and monitoring your employees, but there's been rumours it's fallen into the wrong hands at times. Once the app is installed on your device, whoever is spying on you can see any of your messages, including WhatsApp, Facebook and Skype. They can also see your texts, see where exactly you are in the world, listen in through your actual microphone, and even intercept live calls as they happen. That's something they claim no similar apps can do. Maybe because it's really creepy and I feel like illegal. Moving on to number 6 now, we have Twitter. In 2014, it was reported that a little blue birdie might be watching you a bit too closely. Specifically, a Twitter update that went over a lot of people's heads said that you now give permission for Twitter to watch and monitor the name of every single app on your phone. Now, the reason they watch you like this is so that they can see what kind of person you're like based on your app choices and then target more specific ads to you on Twitter. If you want to turn this off, you actually have to manually go into your privacy settings on your phone. Advertising is what keeps Twitter free, but I can't help but feel this is a bit of a sneaky move. Next up at number 5, we have the OneSpy. Much like some of the other spying apps we've talked about, once activated, the OneSpy will read your messages, watch where you are, and listen to your conversations. This app can even activate the camera to see exactly what you're doing and watch you in a very physical sense. But perhaps the scariest part about it is that it's just so cheap. 1 month of spying costs just $18. Apparently, that is now the price of privacy. Moving on to number 4 now, we have YouTube. In 2014, a former hacker turned security researcher published an article about network injection appliances. These were expensive systems used by hackers that can crack into your hard drive wherever unencrypted data is exchanged with a server. One example of this is YouTube videos. They are a non-encrypted transfer of data. Google quickly announced they were rolling out a fix for this soon, but it was a real wake-up call for people when it comes to how far hacking has really come in this day and age. Next up at number 3 now, we have Heister Mobile. On this app's own website, they actually brag a lot of people do not yet know that it is possible to spy on a mobile phone remotely. Well, hopefully this video might put an end to that. Heister goes one step further than our other spying apps because not only does it access pictures on your phone to allow people to see what you're doing, it will actually go into other apps to watch you as well. This means any pictures sent or received over Facebook, WhatsApp or Skype, they are all taken and stored remotely. This app even has an option to remotely uninstall itself, meaning there will be no trace that the person was even watching you at all. Alright, moving on to number 2 now, we have Spyera. To be honest, this thing is just straight up creepy. It will record everything, and I mean everything, through your camera and microphone. It will find and store every message you send, and it will keep every single picture no matter where it comes from or how you try and hide it. It will even allow the watcher to read all of your passwords ever for everything you've ever used on your phone. So if your security hasn't already been compromised by this point, it certainly is now. The list of features just goes on and on. The only comforting thing that I could find is that this is all pretty expensive. It costs almost $400 for a year of spying, but there are definitely people out there who would call that a fair price. And finally at number 1, we have Facebook. In 2016, stories started to emerge that Facebook was apparently listening to you, quite literally. There's a section of their terms and conditions that says, we use your microphone to identify the things you're listening to or watching. Based on the music and TV we're able to identify. Now they claim that this helps them identify songs or TV shows that you don't know the name of, but other people have made videos of them them talking about things near their phone and then advertisements for that thing appearing on Facebook soon after. Some experts said that Facebook isn't actually eavesdropping on us, but that the real way they are spying is in the fact that we no longer even have to give permission for Facebook to track our movements or look through our contacts, and that you don't even need to have the app for them to do that. Perhaps that's a story for a whole other video.